Welcome to your 12-minute HR lesson. Today, I'm going to talk about magic as a structure of imagination, but I'm also going to talk about how this concept of spells seeps into our collective unconscious and how you need to not fall for it, how you need to believe in words, but don't fall for the magic. So let's talk about magic words. Let's go. If there was a meme for this episode, it would be Wingardium Leviosa. There's a pretty good chance you or someone else has corrected my pronunciation on that one, or you're trying to remember which one was the right one, which one was the bad one. But I want to talk to you about magic words, because magic words are really interesting when you scratch the surface. So let's talk quickly about fantasy and magic. If I have a guilty pleasure, that is reading fantasy books. I don't want the heavy stuff. I want the easy schlock, the adventure series, the hero saves the day against the big bad evil guy. For something to be fantasy, it needs to have magic. It needs to have a magic system. Without magic, it's essentially just medieval fiction. So if an author sets this world in fantasy, they have to have magic, and they need to have a magic system. There need to be rules. You can't just have someone who can use magic, and with magic they can do anything, because where are the stakes? And often in fantasy books you do have the Merlin Gandalf character, to which the author now has to deal with, why can't this guy just solve everything with magic? So there has to be constraints, there has to be rules. For there to be magic, there has to be a system, there has to be a force of magic, and there has to be a trigger. And often what that trigger is words. Not always. Certainly J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter uses words as triggers. One of my favourite, David Eddings, his magic systems used words as triggers. And one of my current favourites, Brandon Sanderson, uses burning of metals as the trigger. But there has to be a force, and there has to be a release. There has to be a deliberate action that the hero takes to release this force that changes the situation with this magic they have brought forth. They have to go from situation X to situation Y. They have to take an action, and that action requires a trigger. Okay, so we've talked about magic words in fantasy, in our imagination. Let's talk about magic words in our reality, in our day-to-day. Now, I want to talk to you about two different types of magic words. One, social niceties. Two, wall breakers. First, let's talk about social niceties. If there's a magic word that we try and teach our children all the time, it's this. You can already think of it. What's the magic word? The magic word is please. Why do we tell our kids this is the magic word? Why is it so important? Let's unpack that. It's a social nicety. Without please, you are issuing instructions. You are issuing expectations. I must have this. You must provide this to me. Also, it presents an indirect dominance. I am the person in charge. I am the master. You are the servant. You throw in a please, you are now saying two things. One, I'm not placing myself above you. I am on the same level as you. I'm asking for your cooperation. And it's also saying you have options. I am saying please, you therefore have the right to say no. I am requesting, I am asking, I am not demanding. That's a lot of work for one single word, please. Same thing with thank you. I appreciate, I value, I'm not taking for granted what I've asked of you and you have provided. Why do we have these social niceties? We have them so that we can live in this world of collective cooperation, so that we can do things together by mutual agreement, mutual benefit, and diminish or diffuse concepts of social hierarchy. The more that we are at the same level working together, the more that we can get done. So that's a lot. That's why we have magic words. The second is something you tend to see in sales. Sales is not so much a magic word, it's a magic phrase. It is, to put it really simply, a defense breaker. Use this in a situation. It's highly effective at cracking through the defense. It's highly effective through getting through the walls of resistance that a potential sale is putting up, and you'll get to the other side where they are vulnerable and you can persuade them and you can get what you want, which is them buying your product. It's phrases like, well, I've got someone else interested in this. Imagine yourself in this situation. Buy now, only two left. All these phrases that work, that for some reason they are chinks in our armor, that salespeople can get through, get to the other side, and once they're past our walls, game's over. They're through to the other side, we're vulnerable. Now let's get some rubber on the road. We're now into part 3. This is where you say, right, give me something I can actually do. Give me something I can actually work with. And it's as simple as this. Don't believe in magic. Listen to the words, but don't fall for the spell that people are potentially trying to cast on you. There's 2 parts to this. The first part, I'm going to talk about sorry. What does sorry mean? I've written a whole article on sorry. You can find it on our website. So I'm slightly repeating myself. But essentially what I'm saying here is sorry is important, but sorry isn't magic. Because there's 3 things we want to know from sorry. 1, did they regret what they're doing? 2, do they now understand what they've done wrong? And 3, will they make a different decision next time? Often, a sorry can be a real gritted teeth apology, in which the person essentially is only saying, I regret the trouble that I am now in, but I do not necessarily accept that I did the wrong thing, and they are not giving you a sense of certainty that they wouldn't make the same decision next time. This is why we can't just accept the magic word of sorry. We can't just move on from that, because we need to know, well, do you understand what you did wrong, and will you make a different decision next time? Often sorry is, I don't like being in trouble. I say the magic word to not be in trouble. I'm casting the spell that gets me from X to Y being where everything is fine. I say the magic word of sorry, problem solved. No, what we need to understand is, well, why did you do it, and will you make a different decision next time? Those are the words that we need to uncover. We need to uncover the understanding in the brain. Sorry means something, but it doesn't necessarily mean I will do things differently next time. So we have to keep going. We can't fall for the magic word of sorry and assume that things will be different next time. Now let's talk about the contentious ones. I'm going to talk about work-life balance. Work-life balance in our current world seems to be, this is what's important to me, this is what you need to be providing for me. As soon as I say I need work-life balance, then I should get what I want. Like, that should be enough, right? Work-life balance is important to you. I want X. Therefore, I say that I should get that. Or alternatively, if you're asking me to do this, and that's going to get in the way of my work-life balance, therefore I shouldn't have to do that anymore, right? Possibly yes. But these are not magic words. To talk about when we talked within the sales scenario, in which these are words that crack through the barriers, these are words that jumps over the wall to the now I get to persuade people to do what I want. Work-life balance seems to have this load-bearing of expectation that it's important to me, and you say it's important to you, therefore you need to agree with me. Possibly yes, but we need to understand the what, the why, the where, the how. What is the actual situation? What we tend to see with magic words is that they are key phrases. I say this phrase, everything now stops, and I move from situation X to situation Y. The concept that I want you to take away from this is that words are important. Words give us insight and understanding and convey what the person has done and will do. Words are very important. Sometimes people use words like spells. I say the spell, now the situation is different. I say sorry, situation fixed. It means a lot, but it doesn't mean everything stops. Believe in words, but don't believe in magic. So the postscript on this one is a little bit complicated because there's several things I cut out of this one because I went, that's just too big a topic. There's too many caveats, there's too many risks in me pushing this out into the ether that people won't take it the way that I want it. So I need to step back from some more risky positions. So what I want you to think about is magic words are expectations that people stop talking. What I don't want you to do is think just because someone has used what you think might be a magic word, you stop listening. It doesn't work like that. That's not what I want. I want you to think, I've heard a magic word. I'm not going to just do what they're implying I ought to do. I'm going to keep talking and I'm going to keep listening. Just because someone says something that they think is a conversation ender doesn't mean the conversation ends, and I wouldn't want to encourage you to also end the conversation from your side. You get to keep talking, you have to keep listening. Anyway, there's much to talk and much to think about in this space. We've got a number of articles, so please have a look at that at pragmatichrm.nz. Have a look at our courses. If you want to talk to me or any of my colleagues directly, reach out to us. We're happy to help. That's the purpose of our whole consultation service. Other than that, I'll catch you next time. Thanks.